Okay, so welcome everyone for another sutta study. And today we're going to look at another sutta from the connected discourses of the Buddha. And this one is called, it has several translations of the name. It's either the conch trumpet or conch blower or trumpet blower. Has several, depending on the translator, has several names. So this is um, a sutta. It's talking with this a headman who is it's like a mayor of a village or something like that, but like a leader or a chief. Um, so often the assembly will come and speak with a respected teacher, like the Buddha, and the chief or the headman will ask questions. So he's representing the village. So it seems like there's just a conversation between two people, but most likely there's other people in the audience too. So there's a whole section in the connected discourses on the chiefs or the headmen, depending on the translator. So we're going to look at Ajahn Thanissro's translation to start with. I'm going to share screen. Hey, can you see that? All right. Hey, would you help me with reading?
Okay.
I'm going to go to Ajahn Thanissro's translation here. I think I'm going to skip the introduction so we can just jump right into it.
Starting with on one occasion.
Yeah.
Okay. On one occasion, the Blessed One was staying near Nalanda in the Pavarika mango grove. The Asibandhakaputta, the headman, then, a disciple of the Nigantas, went to the Blessed One, and on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, the Blessed One said to him, Headman, how does Niganta Nataputta teach the Dhamma to his disciples? Niganta Nataputta teaches the Dhamma to his disciples in this way, Lord. All those who take life are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. All those who steal, all those who indulge in illicit sex, all those who tell lies, are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. Whatever one keeps doing frequently, by that is one led to a state of rebirth. That's how Niganta Nataputta teaches Dhamma to his disciples. Keep going.
I could read it, I guess. If it's true that whatever one keeps doing frequently, by that one is led to a state of rebirth, then no one is destined for a state of deprivation or destined to hell, in line with Niganta Nataputta's words. What do you think, Headman? If a man is one who takes life, then taking into consideration time spent doing and not doing, whether by day or by night, which time is more the time he spends taking life or the time he spends not taking life? And then the headman answers, if a man is one who takes life, Lord, then taking into consideration time spent doing and not doing, whether by day or by night, then the time he spends taking life is less, and the time he spends not taking life is certainly more. If it's true that whatever one keeps doing frequently, by that is one led to a state of rebirth, then no one is destined for a state of deprivation or destined to hell in line with Nigantaputta, Nigata Nataputta's words.
Keep reading, or?
Yeah, please go ahead.
What do you think, headman? If a man is one who steals, indulges in illicit sex, tells lies, then taking into consideration time spent doing and not doing, whether by day or by night, which time is more? The time he spends telling lies, or the time he spends not telling lies? If a man is one who tells lies, Lord, then taking into consideration time spent doing and not doing, whether by day or by night, then the time he spends telling lies is less than the time he spends not telling lies is certainly more. If it's true that whatever one keeps doing frequently, by that is one led to a state of rebirth, then no one is destined for a state of deprivation or destined to hell, in line with Niganta's Nataputta's words. There is the case, headman, where a certain teacher holds this doctrine, holds this view. All those who take life are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. All those who steal, all those who indulge in illicit sex, all those who tell lies are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. A disciple has faith in that teacher, and the thought occurs to him, our teacher holds this doctrine, holds this view. All those who take life are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. There are living beings that I have killed. I too am destined for a state of deprivation, am destined for hell. He fastens on to that view. If he doesn't abandon that doctrine, doesn't abandon that state of mind, doesn't relinquish that view, then as if he were to be carried off, he would thus be placed in hell.
So we can pause here. This is interesting where the state of mind, what this view, it's a mental kamma. So we're talking about kamma here is of body, speech, and mind. So kamma or karma is often think of the results. We think about, but kamma is action. So this is a holding to a view, and then having that view is a cause for somebody to go to hell. It's like Ajahn Brahm, someone asked him, well, it's so unfair about karma, and that someone would be tortured in hell and all this kind of stuff. And then Ajahn Brahm's answer was, you put yourself there. A person puts themselves there. And it was like, because clinging to a view could be one way of thinking about it is that we are tormenting ourselves with the view. So it's like a hell realm in it. The mind is a hell realm because we're tormenting ourselves, or because clinging to that view, we send ourselves there. Our mental state uh, um, is tortured, and then when we die with a tortured mental state, then we go to a tortured state. That's one way of understanding that. And another way too is if you think, well, I'm destined to hell anyway, you might not stop doing whatever you did to make you feel like you might be going to hell anyway. Do you have any thoughts on that, IA?
Don't want to think about that because I might end up in hell.
Okay, should we go on?
Sure.
I think it's just the same with the other.
The thought occurs to him.
Mhm.
Our teacher holds this doctrine, holds this view. All those who steal, all those who indulge in illicit sex, all those who tell lies are destined for a state of deprivation, are destined for hell. There are lies that I have told. I too am destined for a state of deprivation, am destined for hell. He fastens on to that view. He doesn't abandon that doctrine, doesn't abandon that state of mind, doesn't relinquish that view, then as if he were to be carried off, he would thus be placed in hell.
Okay, I can read a little bit more. There is a case, Headman, where a Tathagata appears in the world, worthy and rightly self-awakened, consummate and clear knowing, conduct and well gone, a knower of the cosmos, unexcelled trainer of those to be tamed, teacher of humans and divine beings, awakened, blessed. He, in various ways, criticizes and censures the taking of life. He says, abandon from taking life. He criticizes and censures stealing and says, abandon from stealing. He criticizes and censures indulging in illicit sex and says, abstain from indulging in illicit sex. He criticizes and censures the telling of lies and says, abandon from the telling of lies. A disciple has faith in that teacher and reflects the Blessed One in a variety of ways, criticizes and censures the taking of life and says, abstain from taking life. There are living beings that I have killed to a greater or lesser extent. That was not right. That was not good. But if I become remorseful for that reason, that evil deed of mine will not be undone. So reflecting thus, he abandons right then the taking of life, and in the future refrains from taking life. That is how there comes to be the abandoning of that evil deed. That is how there comes to be the transcending of that evil deed.
Keep going. He reflects, the Blessed One is in a variety of ways criticizes and censures stealing, indulging in illicit sex, the telling of lies, and says, abstain from the telling of lies. There are lies that I have told to a greater or lesser extent. That was not right. That was not good. But if I become remorseful for that reason, that evil deed of mine will not be undone. So, reflecting thus, he abandons right then the telling of lies, and in the future refrains from telling lies. This is how there comes to be the abandoning of that evil deed. This is how there comes to be the transcending of that evil deed. Having abandoned the taking of life, he refrains from taking life. Having abandoned stealing, he refrains from stealing. Having abandoned illicit sex, he refrains from illicit sex. Having abandoned lies, he refrains from lies. Having abandoned divisive speech, he refrains from divisive speech. Having abandoned harsh speech, he refrains from harsh speech. Having abandoned idle chatter, he refrains from idle chatter. Having abandoned covetousness, he becomes uncovetous. Having abandoned ill will and anger, he becomes one with a mind of no ill will. Having abandoned wrong views, he becomes one who has right views.
So this is quite beautiful. It's continuing, he, she, they are continuing to refine their behavior through body, speech, and mind. And this is so important, the abandoning of all of three types of behavior that's harmful, and that the Buddha includes action of mind, abandoning ill will, anger, and covetousness, which is greed or longing. That disciple of the noble ones, Headman, thus devoid of covetousness, devoid of ill will, unbewildered, alert, mindful, keeps pervading the first direction, the east, with an awareness imbued with goodwill. This is metta. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth, thus above, below, all around, everywhere, in its entirety. He keeps pervading the all-encompassing cosmos with an awareness imbued with goodwill, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. Just as a strong conch trumpet blower can notify the four directions without any difficulty, in the same way, when the awareness released through goodwill is thus developed, thus pursued, any deed done to a limited extent no longer remains there, no longer stays there. So the mind is purified of all unwholesome states at this point. Do you want to finish?
That disciple of the noble ones, thus devoid of covetousness, devoid of ill will, unbewildered, alert, mindful, keeps pervading the first direction with an awareness imbued with compassion, appreciation, equanimity. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. Thus above, below, and all around, everywhere. In its entirety, he keeps pervading the all-encompassing cosmos with an awareness imbued with equanimity, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. Just as a strong conch trumpet blower can notify the four directions without any difficulty, in the same way, when the awareness release through equanimity is thus developed, thus pursued, any deed done to a limited extent no longer remains there, no longer stays there. When this was said, Asibandhakaputta, the headman, the disciple of the Nigantas, said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent Lord, magnificent!" Just as if he were to place upright what was overturned, to reveal what was hidden, to point out the way to one who was lost, or to carry a lamp in the dark, so that those eyes could see forms. In the same way, as the Blessed One, through many lines of reasoning, made the Dhamma clear, I go to the Blessed One for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge from this day forward for life.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So that was Ajahn Tanisaro's translation. And this is a pattern I've seen in a number of suttas where the Buddha first establishes a lay disciple in the sila, or wholesome behavior. And then he describes how the mind becomes purified through this. And then he leads them into the Brahma Viharas, the four immeasurables, or the four divine abodes. And so Ajahn Bhante Sujato's describes the students of this Nakalaputta, Naganta, as a Jain. These are Jains. And so this is a conversation on kamma, as we saw, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. And you saw how the person was reflecting on their behavior in order to abandon the behavior that they had done. And I just included an extract here from the previous sutta we looked at to review the sutta to Rahula, the Buddha's son, the teaching to Rahula. And he was instructing Rahula that that our actions through body, speech, and mind before we act, we should reflect. And during the time we are acting, we should reflect. And then afterwards, whether this is beneficial or harmful, and that we should refrain from any action that's harmful. And if we don't see any harm in it, we can go ahead. So this is Pachawekana, or having reflected was Pachawekitwa, but having reviewed, having contemplated, having reflected, having inspected oneself. So we're looking before we act, is it harmful? And during the action, sometimes we can, depending on the activity, we're moving towards doing something that is harmful. And as we're moving towards it, we realize it, and then we can desist. So this is through body, speech, and mind. We should reflect on our actions. So here's Bhante Sujato's, this is an extract from the one we just looked at, the Ajahn Tanisharo's. So this is not going into the Niganta, Nataputta's belief system, but just how the Buddha is recommending we approach it. And I said, and there's a disciple devoted to that teacher. No, actually, this is the one from Niganta Nataputta, excuse me. There's a disciple who is devoted to that teacher. They think, my teacher has a doctrine in view. Everyone who kills a living creature, steals, commits sexual misconduct, or lies goes to a place of loss, to hell. But I've killed living creatures, and then so on, or lied, and they get the view. I too am going to a place of loss, to hell. So I just thought we could look at the Pali a little bit. Unless they give up that speech and that thought and let go of that view, they will be cast down to hell. So this is not leaving behind, not giving up or abandoning. There's these two words here, having pretty much the same meaning, not having given up, not having relinquished, not having renounced, not having abandoned. So these are these two words here. And ditthi is view. If you have samma ditthi, that's a correct view. If you have miccha ditthi, which this would be, it's a mistaken view. And that it just shows how important our views are to our well-being and to how we live our lives and our mental states. And this is a yata batang, as if carried. That's what they say. As if being cat. This is why I think this is,
We get carried away with it.
yeah, as if we're being put into hell. This is what this is implying. So it is the mental state that's a hell realm. This, I think, both things can happen possibly. And there is various hell realms, according to the Buddhist teaching, and possible place of rebirth, which we definitely want to avoid.
Yeah, I thought you were leading up to a scary around Halloween. I didn't realize how scary you were going to go. This is pretty scary. for Halloween.
Well, it doesn't have to, if we avoid a wrong view, it sounds like to me, we just have to avoid this view that our fate is sealed. We did something bad.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of us do, we think back and sometimes when we're meditating, even memories come back of things that we did in the past. Things happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm old enough that it could be 40 years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why was I behaving like that? There's this whole period of my life. Oh my gosh. And I could have a lot of remorse and regret. And then while I'm sitting on the cushion, then I'm tormenting myself. But if I just think, um, like the peer, I'm very grateful that I'm a student of the Buddha. I consider the realized one as a risen in the world, fully awakened Buddha. In many ways, the Buddha criticizes and denounces killing living beings, saying, stop killing living creatures. This is Bhante Sujato's translation. But I have killed living creatures to a certain extent. So, in the past, I did kill ants and I set a trap for a mouse and killed a mouse one time. I felt so terrible doing that. But I stopped. And so it was not right. It was not good. And I can't undo what I did. And I did feel remorse because of it. But I don't need to keep feeling remorse. So reflecting like this, they give up killing living creatures. So I did. And in the future, they don't kill living creatures. And that's how that bad deed, they give up the bad deed and they get past it. This is how Bhante Sujato, Argentinizo says, transcended it. So Papa is evil, criminal, wrong, bad, or vicious. And kamma is action, deed, doing. So this is a wrong action, a criminal or vicious action that we may have done. Most of us haven't committed, I don't know, maybe some of us have criminal or vicious actions, and then we patisari is a remorseful, regretful, repentant, and sorry. So so it is important for us to say, oh, that was not a good thing, especially if we're engaging in something currently and we think, oh, I need to stop doing that. So there's this hiriotapa, there's a kind of a feeling of kind of shame and regret. This wasn't right. This is part of our conscience, being conscious. But we shouldn't overdo it or just get lost in it or we don't need to keep tormenting ourselves about it, but there's just to have that saying to ourselves, no, that was not right, and then having some feeling of yes, that's painful. So there's this patisankaya, and we're in the morning we say patisankaya yoniso bindapata. So wisely reflecting, we reflect on the food we receive, we reflect on our robes. So this is a reflection to think about why we're using and why we're doing things. So why am I wearing this robe? It's not for beauty or for, it's just to cover the body, to keep it warm. And so this is a reflection on our behavior, judgment, consideration, carefully considering. So we're looking back on past behaviors here. And this is kamma, and this is overcoming or going beyond, transcending. So we transcend our unwholesome behavior by reflecting on it, going beyond it. We don't have to keep doing the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I'm just inserting this because here we have an extract from a sutta, and you notice that the Buddha, there's 4 out of the 5 precepts that are mentioned that this person had broken these 5 precepts, and now as this is a lay follower with 5 qualities is self-assured. So we've gone past breaking the precepts. So now the person is self-assured because they don't kill living creatures, steal, commit sexual misconduct, lie, or use alcoholic drinks that cause negligence. A lay follower with these 5 qualities is self-assured. So this is becoming a person's character. Oh, if you're keeping your precepts well, this is you have no remorse or regret. So I just thought I would tuck that one in to show the 5 precepts. And a person who is with these qualities that doesn't break any of the 5 precepts. This is one of the qualities of someone who's entered the stream, a sotapanna. So here's Sujato, Bhante Sujato's continuing the horn blower, as he translates it. They give up killing living creatures, they give up stealing, they give up sexual misconduct, they give up lying, they give up divisive speech, they give up harsh speech, they give up talking nonsense, they give up covetousness. This is greed, or it's an old-fashioned word. They give up ill will, they give up malevolence, they give up wrong view and have right view. Samaditi. So the mundane right view is understanding the consequences of our behavior. You know what's right action and right speech, and that these have consequences. Even like our mental conduct has consequences. So this is a very fundamental aspect of right view. And also when it becomes super mundane is when we really possess the Four Noble Truths. We understand to a really deep degree the cause of suffering and the cause of suffering, and that suffering, we've seen at least a glimpse of the cessation of suffering, and Nibbana, have a glimpse of Nibbana, and know that the Noble Eightfold Path is the way to the ending of suffering. So this is the more super mundane. So then that noble disciple is rid of desire, rid of ill will, unconfused, aware, and mindful. They meditate, spreading a heart of love. This is metta, to one direction, to the second, and to the third. and the fourth in the same way, above, below, across, everywhere, all around. They spread a heart of love to the whole world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity, free of ill will. Would you like to read the next part?
Suppose there was a powerful horn blower. They'd easily make themselves heard in the four quarters. In the same way, when the heart's release by love has been developed and cultivated like this, any limited deeds they've done don't remain or persist there. Keep going into the yellow.
Ah, yeah, we could read it through.
Suppose there was a powerful horn blower, they'd easily make themselves heard in the four quarters. The Polly or just the English?
You could just read the English, yeah.
In the same way, when the heart's release by love has been developed and cultivated like this, any limited deeds they've done don't remain or persist there. I think that's the crux for me, is this unbounded. My background is in mathematics, and so if you have this unbounded um, predisposition or way of being, and then there are these little limited dots within it, and you look at probability of landing on one of those little dots, it's close to zero.
Oh, that's a really a good way of looking at it. Yeah. So we have this limited, and it's related to the realm of sense desire. So we've gone beyond that with this boundless heart, this unlimited, this unmeasurable.
And I'm not sure this is true in terms of physics, but if you think of the infinite space and you have these little spots that are, the negativities, but then you focus on the negativity and you create this black hole, then things are drawn there. So that's why, work on the infinite good heart. So I'll
So
have to ask a physicist.
yeah, and for me, what's important is that the person before this Brahma Vihara is attained, they've worked on really purifying their mind, and maybe just for that, it's not like they've completely abolished any hatred or ill or greed or confusion, but at least their mind has settled enough. And so they have this, during that period of time, they're completely free from the unwholesome. Um, you just have this, you have the complete freedom for at least a period of time, and you could see that that's possible to be completely overcome any greed or hatred or delusion, that this is, in this state, you're free from it completely. So it doesn't linger or persist or remain there. It's just the mind is liberated in that sense. Then that noble disciple is rid of desire, rid of ill will, unconfused, aware, and mindful. They meditate, spreading a heart full of compassion. This is karuna. Karuna sahagatena cetasa. So this is all four Brahma Viharas that the person is extending outward to the all four directions, above, below, around, and everywhere. This is the expansive quality of the Brahma Viharas. And this is interesting because a couple of weeks ago we looked at the Kalama Sutta, and here he has, the Buddha had established the Kalamas in Sila, and looking at the consequences of greed, hate, and delusion, and also freedom from greed, hate, and delusion is the same sequence. And this is Bhante Bodhi's translation. Then Kalama is that noble disciple who is thus devoid of longing, devoid of ill will, unconfused, clearly comprehending, ever mindful, dwells pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness, a mind imbued with compassion, a mind imbued with altruistic joy, a mind imbued with equanimity. Likewise, the second, the third, the fourth quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere into all as to him or herself. They dwell, pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with equanimity, vast, exalted, measureless, without enmity, without ill will. I just thought I'd include Bhante Bodhi's translation because I think many of us are more familiar with the Brahma Viharas translated in that way.
Mhm.
So, not sure what time it's getting to be.
42.
Okay, we have a little time then for discussion. I can stop the screen share.
It's the red up
Oh,
above.
there it is. Okay, there we go. So I could put it on gallery view if people don't mind. And there we go. There we are. So does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Do you have anything you'd like to add to the discussion?
Go for the unbounded goodwill of the heart, balance, compassion, rejoicing.
I see John has a virtual hand up.
And
Please, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to.
Hello, good morning, Ayas.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Yes, yes, glad to be here. It's been a bit of time since I saw you last. It's been quite a year. So I do have a question on the sutta you just covered. So
Please.
two two things. Should I say both or just start with one?
You could say both.
Okay. So what does it mean for a bad deed to remain?
So the bad deed to remain, well, the consequences of our bad deed, and a lot of it's are mental, that we feel remorse. And then consequences would be in further lives. If you believe in rebirth, and we have unwholesome behavior like killing or stealing or harmful sexual behavior or something, then there may be consequences in future lifetimes because it's part of our character to be doing these things. So if it's part of our character to purify our behavior and we've purified, then it's not going to carry on to a future life. Like if I'm a really greedy person, that greed is going to carry me into a particular rebirth, but it's also carrying me in this lifetime to act in unwholesome ways if I'm just wanting for myself, I'm greedy and there's our behavior becomes our character, and then it remains in that way. And so we'll keep doing this, have performing these kind of acts. So that's how it remains. Did you have something to say too?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it to the highest extent. So when they talk about the heart's release by love, in the ultimate sense, we're talking about arahantship, and the kamma has no ground on which to then bear fruit. So the evil deed has, the petri dish is so pure, it can't grow. And so in that sense, it's like, it doesn't remain or persist because there's no grounds in which for it to come to fruition. And then in the more limited senses, we're practicing the Brahma Viharas. If you notice, when you're in a really expansive state, your mind is not in those qualities of ill will that you've
It can't.
had in the past. It can't.
It can't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
impossible.
impossible to
Yeah.
be in that
Mm.
unbounded loving state and have when you did something unwholesome be really grabbing a hold of you. It can't persist in that environment. So,
Thank you.
was that one question or was that two?
There's one question,
Okay.
I think. And you had a second question?
Yes, please. Okay, so my second point is I had an experience where I felt like things were piling up on me, and something happened, and something else happened, and something else. And the general background was challenging for this year for me. And overall, I've been doing a good job of handling challenges. But at a certain point, I got really quite frustrated and I thought some nasty thoughts. I'm thinking, and I know this was mentioned during your presentation, what is the connection between the strength of the mind, the ability to clean out the mind from the effects of what we've experienced? What's the connection between that and avoiding the bad deeds? Yeah.
The strength of the mind. Well, I mean, circumstances in our lives are going to happen. I mean, some of it is just the state of the world, and so a lot of it's beyond our control. And just developing a stable mind state. I think this is why the Buddha talks about developing the Brahma Viharas, because not only do we abandon unwholesome mental states, we're developing wholesome mental states. So I think for me, like if an unwholesome mental state arises, the mindfulness is a quality also to be developing the awareness of what's arising in our minds. And then the sooner we catch that arising, then the sooner we can abandon it, or we see, oh, I've fallen into it. This isn't wholesome, this isn't helpful. I start thinking, I ask myself, is this wholesome? No. Is this helping me? No. Is this going to change the situation? No. So I just go through this kind of inquiry. And of course, I know the answer to the question, but I ask myself those questions anyway, just so I'm diverting my mind from dwelling in the unwholesome state, complaining and blaming, or feeding the anger in any way. For me, the unwholesome is a state that I fall into more easily, is an annoyance or anger. So the sooner we see that arising, the more quickly we can let go of it. So mindfulness, I think, is really essential, as along with the Brahma Viharas, the awareness of what is arising. And then when we have the Brahma Viharas, this is what we want to nurture our mind with. This is what we want to, this is we want to feed or nurture our mind with the Brahma Viharas. And that way, when we're rattled by circumstances, which is inevitable, we're in samsara. Things are going to happen that we don't want to happen. The world is the way it is. I keep reminding myself that too. This is samsara. Can I do anything to change what's going on in the world? No, I can't. Can I change what's going on inside of me? Yes. And then directly how I am interacting with other people, I can change. And then how I interact with other people is going to have an impact somewhat on the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if I'm not, if I'm abandoning unwholesome behavior, that has an influence on other people too, through body, speech, and mind. If I'm acting out of kindness, out of compassion, uh, out of, and then having altruistic or sympathetic joy and equanimity. If I'm acting out of those instead of greed, hate, and delusion, that's going to have an impact, at least on my immediate environment. Hopefully the more and more of us that are cultivating these good qualities, that, it's a subtle impact on the world. And this is all I know that I can do.
Yeah, this practice does not stop us from having bad years. From having, I mean, even arahants, Moggallana was violently murdered. The Mahamud,
Mahmoud.
Mahamud, no, but yeah, but my brain just, the mass murderer,
Oh, Angulimala.
Angulimala also, he had things thrown at him and whatnot because, in his case, there was probably a direct relationship to past karma in that lifetime.
Oh, definitely. It was
And
definitely,
Moggallana, it was in previous lifetimes. But then there were lots and lots of bhikkhus who were also probably bhikkhunis that are just not written about in the same way, who were in times of famine. There just wasn't enough to eat. Or one poor bhikkhu had his hut torn down multiple times. And, so there wasn't necessarily a direct cause from his kamma. It was what was going on in society at that time, and they were right in the middle of it. But if they're practicing this unbounded quality and this stability of mind, then they can be okay even up to, simile of the saw type of difficulties. So Buddhism doesn't bring us not bad years. It just changes our heart in how we respond within them.
Thank you for your question. Does anyone else have a question or comment?
Thank you so much for this teaching and for sharing space. And I did have just one brief comment when you were reading the lesson, the translation, and pointing to all of the space that exists, I suppose, in between the harmful thinking and harmful action, and thinking about that on balance, I experienced some personal relief, just like, right, like there are many hours of the day where I'm not mentally torturing myself or feeling remorseful, or and so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up to light, because that's another way of looking at it, is that since most of the time we're not engaging in unwholesome actions through body, speech, and then hopefully also mind, although some people, a lot of their mental space is unwholesome. So, but if we reflect on how much there isn't, yeah, it was Ajahn Amaro, where somebody was asking him because they thought that they were just obsessing about something and they couldn't stop thinking about it, and it was something they were that was disturbing to them. And he said, just bring your attention to when you're not. You're aware of when you are, and it seems like it's constant, but when you're not.
Yeah.
And then you see that, right now I'm not thinking about that thing. I'm not tormenting myself with that thought. And so that's a good point, that there is much more time in the day when we're not thinking harmful thoughts or having that so-called obsessive thought, or that there is that freedom to just to be aware of it. And that is the same too when we're meditating. It seems like, oh, my mind is just so scattered, and I can't stop thinking. But if we bring awareness to when there is quiet, when the mind is settled, then that helps with the settling of the mind too. It's a same kind of principle.
Mind the gap.
Mm.
So, anyone else? We've got 3 minutes, so or we can just close if there's nothing else that.
We can close the
Oh, that's-
U2B part.
And John has a hand raised again. Yes.
Mind if I say something else?
Sure, go ahead. I don't mind.
Oh, all right, I'll keep it brief. So recently what happened was I felt like I had an elephant on my back. I was trying to cross a river, and the elephant was a little heavy, to put it mildly. But then a monkey came, jumped on the elephant, and started making comments. And that the monkey is what got me all riled up. So the elephant, not so much, but somehow the monkey, when he jumped on top, that's when everything went haywire. So I'm trying to figure out, how can I not let the monkey get to me? That's my question.
Oh, well, there's actually, that's very interesting, because in the Tibetan tradition, there is a whole mental training, and they have the elephant is the mind, and the elephant is what the trainer is focused on taming, and the monkey is just there. And if it shows the monkey leading the elephant, and the practitioner chasing the elephant, and then kind of I want to say lassoing, but they can apprehend. They're able to catch the elephant with the rope. They tether the elephant, and then the elephant looks back. Both the elephant and the monkey look back at the trainer. So this is the mind seeing itself, as the way I interpreted the pictures. But there's like these different stages, but the focus is more on taming the elephant and not worrying about the monkey, which is interesting. And then the monkey eventually disappears, and the elephant becomes pure. The mind becomes pure from that training. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but to look well, actually, if you think of the elephant as the state of the mind, and the monkey is all that chattering. So don't pay attention to the chattering and the antics of the monkey, but pay attention to the state of the mind. Is my mind, how can I calm the actual mind and not worry about all the chatter? So there's if you want to look up online, it's called Calm Abiding. Oh, let me see. I've got see if we can get this. Have it. How do I
You have to share.
share screen? I have to go. Let's see. How do I get it?
Click over here. Yep. Click on the black and come down to share.
Oh, here it is. Okay, see if we can get it. Here we go. Here. So you can find this online, and it 9 stages of calm abiding. And here's the elephant, but and that this is the trainer, and they, and he's finally catching up, but he lassos him here, and see, the attention is on the mind, not on the monkey. And the monkey can be leading the mind, but what we have to focus on is more on the mind.
Oh, I like the one where the meditator and the elephant are lying down peacefully.
That's where we're headed. But it takes a while. This takes a lot of patience to get the mind to calm down. And eventually the monkey bows and disappears. And then there's just left with the mind. Anyway, that's interesting. You had that metaphor, and there it is. It's an ancient practice. So if you want to look that up for yourself, it's available. So we're at the end of our time. So we're gonna if you care to join us, we're gonna pay homage to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Araha Sama Sambuddho Bhagawa Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you all for joining us. I'm gonna